Starts now. Why don't you take a seat? So before I open the floor to questions from here, I keep calling you a living legend. This is, by the way, the second time that I'm getting to meet you. Last time I met you was during Shamitab when there was a huge event at the Taj Lands End. We talk of Sachin Tendulkar. He was born in 73, even retired in 2013. You have been acting since 1973, and next year is going to be your 50th year. Sir, अब 50 साल जब आप एक्टिंग कर रहे हैं, can we have a big round of applause? His first role as an adult came in 1973 with a film called Arangetram, if I'm correct. So when you sign a film now, what do you look at? What are your motivations? Is it just the love for films that you think ये कहानी अच्छी है मैं करता हूँ?
Somebody asked me, when you work, when you sign, I sign because it's a legality. Otherwise, they asked me, when you go to work, I said it's nearly 30, 35 years since I worked. I'm on a holiday and they pay me for it. I love my work. I love cinema as much as you do. I'm a film fan, and I'm fortunate to be behind and in front of the camera, in front of the projectors like you, and sometimes behind the projector watching my production rolling out to you. So when he asked me when I sign it with the same love I sign an autograph. I live up to the promise whether or not I've signed on that paper. Otherwise, I never get into a project. It's not about signing. My commitment is when I agree, when I love the project. The paper, I'm a lawyer's son, so I do understand the importance of papers. But otherwise, the papers don't matter. My paper is my tongue, and my pen is my mind. This is a dialogue I've written in a Tamil film called Virumandi.
So you're talking about your love for films. I look at this, it says produced by Kamal Haasan. You're acting in this film. I know you have scored music in your films. You've written the screenplay, you've written dialogues. So there's very little that you've not done when it comes to a film. Now, I've heard a rumor, and this is a rumor which is very strong, by the way, that Kamal Haasan decides to take a holiday. It's not a holiday, it's a work holiday. You go to some country, could be any country where you think, yes, that's where I can learn the craft. You learn the craft and then you come back. How much of it is true?
All of it, but I wish it would become a regular habit. I could afford to go only once after every film. Now I wish I could go almost, bring those people here, which I do sometimes. And it's not just me learning. My team learning is also important for me. And this cinema, people think the stars who stand on the dais and get the limelight are the only people who make films. No, there are at least 200 people who make that one shot of my screaming. There are 6 people making it work. The focus puller, the man who pulls up the crane, the man who lights up the whole night. I just walk in and take the light and shout. But there are 200 people every time. Any one of them can go wrong, and you will say something's wrong with the frame. Apart from that, I have many people behind making these banners go up to let you know, to distribute it, to send it to the correct theaters and program it well. It's so many people, and it's arrogance for any star to think that he made the film happen. He works in the film. I take a holiday and let it to these people. They take care of it. I have them sitting quietly here. I have people from Sony, Rajat Saab. I have Jayantilal Bhai here. And I have even the songwriter Rakib here, who makes it work for me. And every little thing, he writes it wrong, they'll say, "Acha nahi hai ye gana," and they'll blame it on me. And when the song is very good, they forget him. They think it's Kamal Haasan's song. I'm also a lyricist. I wrote the Tamil version and I sat with him for the Hindi version. I understand how much work it is. It's not just 4 lines. It is remembered for 50, 40 years if it becomes a hit. So we are writing for another generation. So I thank all of them, especially the young director who claims to be my fan. After this film, I'm his fan. And there is Fahad Fasil Saab, who's becoming national by day. And very soon he will become international also. He's got that. And Vijay Sethupathi Saab is there. Many talented people. Anirudh music is all around the country now, not just one state. Every state is grabbing it up like their own. I thank all these technicians, and I'm yet to thank you, but I'll say it in advance. Without you, this film can be made, but it won't make it.
There definitely will be a question on this, but since I have the opportunity, I'm just going to slip it in. So you are not new to Hindi movies. You have done Hindi movies by the dozen in the past. But sir, there's a revolution that is taking place. India is one place. We have different content films. We have different language films that are becoming pan-India films. Just one question. I'm not going into, movies that are made here or movies that are made down south. But say you are starting Vikram. Are the sensibilities different when you're trying to make a pan-India film, or it doesn't matter?
No, I think film speaks a world language. It's a language on its own. And we are a country with such diversity, but with fantastic unity. Yes, we might disagree, but here's a country which doesn't speak a language, but calls it their national anthem with pride. None of them down south know a single word of Bengali, but they sing their national anthem in that language with pride. They know that. That's the only Bengali they know, is the national anthem. And down south, you'll find a very dark gentleman who will call himself Nehru. That's what this country is all about. I've seen that from my childhood. There is one sensibility which united us all. Otherwise, we were just princely states. It united us. No, not this. It united us all. And we made what was considered to be a silly dream into a truth. And we are living it. And we've forgotten how difficult it was to put it all together. It's like success in a movie. You forget how difficult it was. Once it comes, you think it'll keep coming. No, you'll have to keep your vigil on this. And that's what we are doing. Film takes its part, does its duty in uniting the people. This is the only place where you don't check what caste or community the next man sitting to you is. You got your ticket, you got your entertainment. That's how the country should be.
Wow.
And this is the place, this is an example, and I am happy to belong to this family, which makes that possible. When you say South Ka film success ho raha hai, I think it's an Indian film which is succeeding, as compared to a Hollywood film succeeding here. It doesn't matter which part of the country makes. We learned making big films from films like Mughal e Azam, Sholay, and we didn't even try them because they were so big that Tamil films or Malayalam films could not afford a film like that. We just saw them. Ek Duje Ke Liye was doable. Anybody could have done it. A Bengali could have done it. All you needed is brains like Mr. K. Balachandar. If you had that kind of brain, anybody could have done it. But Mughal e Azam is not just intelligence, it's guts to make. He's made it for years, decades, to make that film. I've seen Sholay, worked with the maker of Sholay. I never thought I would even meet him, but I worked with him. So we do understand and respect. We should respect each other. If you think this film is good, appreciate it. Doesn't matter. Language doesn't matter. Films don't have language.
And sir has already movies. You have done Hindi movies by the dozen in the past. But sir, there's a revolution that is taking place. India is one place. We have different content films. We have different language films that are becoming pan-India films. Just one question. I'm not going into movies that are made here or movies that are made down south. But say you are starting Vikram. Are the sensibilities different when you're trying to make a pan-India film, or it doesn't matter?
No, I think film speaks a world language. It's a language on its own. And we are a country with such diversity, but with fantastic unity. Yes, we might disagree, but here's a country which doesn't speak a language, but calls it their national anthem with pride. None of them down south know a single word of Bengali, but they sing their national anthem in that language with pride. They know that. That's the only Bengali they know, is the national anthem. And down south, you'll find a very dark gentleman who will call himself Nehru. That's what this country is all about. I've seen that from my childhood. There is one sensibility which united us all. Otherwise, we were just princely states. It united us. No, it united us all, and we made what was considered to be a silly dream into a truth, and we are living it. And we've forgotten how difficult it was to put it all together. It's like success in a movie. You forget how difficult it was. Once it comes, you think it'll keep coming. No, you'll have to keep your vigil on this. And that's what we are doing. Film takes its part, does its duty in uniting the people. This is the only place where you don't check what caste or community the next man sitting to you is. You got your ticket, you got your entertainment. That's how the country should be.
Wow.
And this is the place, this is an example, and I am happy to belong to this family which makes that possible. When you say South ka film success ho raha hai, I think it's an Indian film which is succeeding as compared to a Hollywood film succeeding here. It doesn't matter which part of the country makes. We learned making big films from films like Mughal e Azam, Sholay, and we didn't even try them because it was so big that Tamil films or Malayalam films could not afford a film like that.
Sir,
We just saw them.
Sir, even Ek Duje Ke Liye, that was also a cult.
Ek Duje Ke Liye was doable. Anybody could have done it. A Bengali could have done it. All you needed is brains like Mr. K. Balachandran. If you had that kind of brain, anybody could have done it. But Mughal e Azam is not just intelligence, it's guts to make. He's made it for years, decades to make that film. I've seen Sholay, worked with the maker of Sholay. I never thought I would even meet him, but I worked with him. So we do understand and respect. We should respect each other. If you think this film is good, appreciate it. It doesn't matter. Language doesn't matter. Films don't have language.
And sir has already beautifully introduced a little about the gentleman that I'm going to call on next, with the three gentlemen who have brought this film to us. The man with the golden touch, Jayantilal Gana, Pen Studio. पिछली बार आपने एक RRR नाम की फिल्म को छुआ और हमें पता है कि क्या हुआ. सर, इस फिल्म के साथ लोकेश कनगराज जिन्होंने कैदी जैसी फिल्म बनाई है, मास्टर जैसी फिल्म बनाई है, अब वो आ रहे हैं कमल सर के साथ विक्रम लेके. इस बार क्या एक्सपेक्टेशन है?
थैंक यू. मुझे पहली बात तो खुशी है कि हमारे सीनियर कमल हसन जी की फिल्म हम डिस्ट्रीब्यूट कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि मेरा करियर स्टार्ट हुआ होगा वीडियो से. तो इनकी वीडियो मैंने सदमा एक दूजे के लिए इतनी बेची है क्योंकि उस ज़माने में पायरेसी बिका करती थी, क्योंकि इन्होंने बहुत अच्छी फिल्में बनाई थी. तो मुझे खुशी है कि मेरी कंपनी पैन बरूदा कमल हसन जी की पिक्चर डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन कर रही है, और ये बहुत अच्छी फिल्म है, बहुत अच्छी लग रही है, और इंडिया इसको बहुत प्राउड करेगी.
राइट. रजत सर, सोनी म्यूजिक हैज बीन एट द फोरफ्रंट. अब हिंदी फिल्मों की बात करें, तमिल फिल्मों की बात करें, लेकिन सर ये जो कॉम्बो है, लोकेश कनगराज, अनिरुद्ध और सोनी म्यूजिक, मास्टर का म्यूजिक भी इन्होंने दिया था. तो जब ये दोनों साथ आते हैं, इज इट जस्ट अ गिवन कि यार इनके साथ तो काम करना ही है?
Thank you for the introduction first. And I would like to believe, yes, I think we are working with superstars in this film, and the magic should happen. And I must say that it's been a pleasure when I met sir the other day when we were to sign the movie and all. The vision that he had for the project is really in itself something that tells you that the project is going to come out really nicely. And of course, then you have other people backing it. And it promises to be a big hit. It's already a big hit on the music. Is all over. You can see it on the charts, and it will get even bigger. So yes, delighted to be associated with the project. Thank you.
राइट. और ये जो जनाब हैं, इनसे कितने लोग पहली बार मिल रहे हैं? आप लोग पहली बार मिल रहे हैं. आप लोग मिल चुके हैं? नहीं, आप इनसे मिल चुके हैं, क्योंकि जितनी बार आपने श्रीवल्ली पे डांस किया है वो इन्हीं की वजह से है. राइट? दैट इज रकीब आलम. एंड कमल सर ने बोला कि अगर वो कुछ ऐसा लिखते हैं जो शायद आपको पसंद ना आए तो कहते हैं कि इन्होंने लिखा है. अगर कुछ अच्छा लिखते हैं तो उनको लगता है कि कमल सर ने लिखा है. दिस मैन हैज बीन द रीजन व्हाई ऑल ऑफ अस आर लुकिंग एट दीस सॉन्ग्स श्रीवल्ली एंड सेइंग दैट ये हमारे देश से निकल के आया है. रकीब भाई, एक बात बताएं, जब एक फिल्म होती है जिस ओरिजिनल भाषा में वो लिखी जाती है और उसको आप हिंदी में तब्दील करते हैं, हिंदी में बदलते हैं, उस एसेंस को कैसे पकड़ के रखते हैं?
उसके लिए सबसे पहली बात है कि पहली जो लाइन होती है फिल्म मतलब गाने की, तो उसको मैं पकड़ता हूँ और मैं कोशिश करता हूँ कि उसका जो मीनिंग है उसको मैं किस तरफ से लेके आऊँ. तो कोशिश का जैसे सर का था बदल पतल पतल पतल. अब मैं सोच रहा था कि मैं लिप है और कई बार रिपीट होता है, तो मैं सोचते सोचते कल करीब करीब 2 दिन लगे मुझे. तो मुझे लगा कि अब उसके हिसाब से फिर लिखा जाए, तो मैंने बदले बदले लिखा.
रकीब भाई और मेरे बीच में एक और सिमिलरिटी है. सर, आई एम एक्चुअली अ तमिलियन.
No, he is making it sound very easy.
It's not easy.
Very simple. That's because he is a simple man himself. But it's very, very difficult to write poetry. Itself is difficult to ride a motorcycle, do a crossword puzzle, and negotiate traffic. That's how difficult it is to write for a dubbing film, because he's not free to let his horse go. He has to hold the lagan to the lip, to the meaning, and to the beat, and still sound sensible. There have been songs, not to name any, because my own films I will take, where the original song would have been fantastic, meaning-wise. It sounds silly when it comes to Hindi.
Sir, there is
It
one
has
song
happened.
everybody loves it.
Let's not name it, because let's not name it, because there's another writer involved. We are all brothers, but it sounds very silly. We have to be very careful. It's some of the greatest poets have said this to me. Gulzar Saab has said this to me. This is very difficult writing from one language to another. That itself is difficult. Now you're doing it for already shot film with lip movement going like that. That's why in certain advertisements you see a doctor recommending something, but his lips are moving differently. You think he's lying. That's the first thing that advertisers should understand, that dubbing should be done very carefully and it should be colloquial. The syntax in a South Indian language and Hindi are opposite. Ulta seedha ho jata hai. So you'll have to understand that also and bring about meaning. It's very difficult job. Even the dubbing writer's job is very difficult. If you see this film, I'm not comparing, but then in America it's allowed. You can compare with your competitor. But here we don't. It's out of decency. But if you see this film, you'll realize, you will forget that it is a dubbed movie. The meaning will come to you. And you won't have the tension of looking down at the subtitles. For us, what's most important is not to wake you up while you're watching the film.
रकीब भाई, वो एक्चुअली 20 साल फिर तमिलनाडु में जाके रहे. Am I right? Correct. Super. Please, gentlemen, why don't you take your seats? Because now I throw open the floor to all the questions that are coming from our friends in the media. Yes, please. आप बस अपना अगर हाथ ऊपर कर देंगे, I will come to you. Yes, ma'am. एक दूसरे के लिए. Can we get a microphone to the lady, please?
Yeah, I think they will need a mic.
हाँ मैं हट जाता हूँ यार. बीच में नहीं आऊँगा.
जयंती जी भावना शर्मा
बोलो भी.
जयंती जी, ये जो फिल्म आ रही है आपकी, ये यशराज की भी फिल्म आ रही है, पृथ्वीराज, और वो साउथ की लैंग्वेजेस में भी डब की गई है. तो थिएटर्स को लेके क्या हाल है? क्योंकि ये भी बड़ी फिल्म है, वो भी बड़ी फिल्म है.
करेक्ट है. और आप मतलब आपने देखा होगा कि हमारे यहाँ अभी मल्टीप्लेक्स का ज़माना है, तो दो फिल्मों को कभी भी एडजस्ट करना मुश्किल है ही नहीं, बिल्कुल भी मुश्किल नहीं. जो अच्छी पिक्चर है वो ऑलवेज चलती है.
सिंगल थिएटर में नहीं, कितने
सिंगल स्क्रीन में भी अभी डिवाइड होना शुरू हो गया है कि वहाँ भी दो फिल्में लगती है, दो दो शो में लगाते हैं. सब अभी पार्टनरशिप अच्छी चल रही है पूरे इंडिया में. जैसे कमल जी ने बोला कि अभी सभी इंडियन फिल्म है, कोई लैंग्वेज नहीं है अभी.
Kamal sir, over here, towards your left, towards your right.
Towards your right, sir.
Towards here, over here. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, my question to you is, there are so many multilinguals also which are being made, which are dubbed simultaneously in Hindi, Tamil, shot simultaneously in Hindi, Tamil and Telugu. Was there ever a thought of making this in that pattern, or what was the thought in dubbing it?
I'm always open to making a double version. But my CEO and my co-producer, they are nervous because that will shoot up the cost like anything. The actors are not the worst part. It's a number of, even if you take one shot, which you will double up and use it for another film, you still have to pay everybody twice. And they are concerned about that. But if somebody like me, for example, I made Hey Ram as two different versions. That's why you will not find any linguistic discrepancies, because Manohar Shyam Joshi Sahab wrote the Hindi dialogues, and is a great Hindi writer, and you can see the value of his writing fully without any filters. And I wrote the Tamil film. Likewise, I wrote for Vishwarupam in Tamil, and Vishwaroop was written by Atul Tiwari Sahab. So it has its value. You're losing out on something while we gain one payment. We reduce one payment, but I think soon Jayantilal Bhai and others will sit together and say, why not make a double version? And actors will have to consider this and not ask for two payments, but become partners in the film. That's the only way you can reach out. Like, there is still more potential in South for Hindi cinemas to grow. The reason it's not growing is they're not coming closer. The linguistic barrier is stopping them. In spite of it, they watch Hindi films. All this political jhanjat with bhasha, it'll keep happening. But artists and sportsmen are the people who keep breaking it. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Tendulkar is equally a hero for a Tamilian living in a native place where I come from, Paramakudi. They can't even pronounce a Hindi word. To tell you the truth, Tendulkar is the one Marathi word they've learned. So it is like that. And these people are great uniting factors.
Hello, hi sir. Sir, straight at you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome, sir.
Vanakkam.
Sir, my question is, I don't think many people know that the germ of the idea, even of this Vikram, has come from you. It is the director Lokesh Kanagaraj who had his own idea, but went on to, just say that, okay, I'll take your idea and develop it. So how does that mean? What does that mean to you? Because you had your own Vikram like several years ago, and probably there's one incident that sort of comes. How does that feel? And do you feel that Lokesh would probably be happy with his own thing?
Every time I make a film, I hope it'll last at least 10 years. Otherwise, I've made a bad product. So 10 years later, they should talk. And it doesn't matter what genre it is, how costly the film was to make, or how cheap, economically we made the film. We can make an economical film, but we've never made a cheap film. So, when somebody says, even today somebody said, I watched your Chachi so many times. And she was kind, she didn't want to say from my childhood. And that's a great feeling. And Mr. Kankaraj keeps saying that he came to cinema because of me. Everybody comes to cinema because of one person, icon that he knows. I was happy to be in Hindi cinema, the same air breathed by Dilip Kumar sir. So that's what I felt. I never thought I would meet him. But for Ek Duje Ke Liye Silver Jubilee, he came and he shook hands. And I think that's the same pleasure he got when he saw tears in my eyes that I get when Lokesh says he became a director because of me, he got the idea because of me. That's all. That's what do you call delayed payment that we get, apart from the check that we get.
Sir, एक second. Renuka, एक का क्या आ रहा हूँ, सबके पास आ रहा हूँ. Renuka wanted to ask a question. Yes.
Thanks, Suren. Kamal sir here on your right. Second row.
Second
Right here. Hi, Kamal sir. Renuka from Bombay Times. First of all, I enjoyed the trailer a lot.
Thank you.
And I loved the honesty with which you're addressing all the questions. My question to you is the art of staying relevant. We've seen you, we've grown up on your movies. You're working with Vijay Sethupathi in this film and Fahad, both are amazing actors. But over the years, there are a lot of changes in the industries across India, how people function. So when you today are working in films as an actor, what are the challenges that you feel? Because a lot of people are very reluctant to adapt, but you are not like that. You've been rediscovering yourself over the years. But how do you, what's the secret of staying relevant after all these years? And what drives you today?
I think all my knowledge is extramural. I never went to any university. So when I speak English, it's what I learned out of school. So I'm always nervous. I go back and check. In those days, you didn't have Wikipedia or Google to check. So you have to really be right. Or somebody will do this. An educated man there would say, he speaks English, but he's not educated. He'll spot me right on. So that happens with good actors who see amateurs performing in front of them. So I learned from them. I'm still learning, and that's why it's a holiday for me. I have no degrees. I never threw my hat off and said, I'm a graduate now. I never had a hat. So that's why I keep changing them. I'm not too sure which one will fit me. But that is, the first most important thing, if you want to know what is the magic word, it is because I'm a film buff. If I'm not in here, I'll be here, in here, watching films. Thanks to OTT, and he shouldn't get upset about it, but he has also come from that digital into this form, and I enjoy my life better because I go back to my old films, watch them, not mine, the films that I enjoyed most. Like people, we don't realize the kind of values that we have within our own. We make fun of our films and say, "Dekho, West mein kya banate hain?" He also makes silly films continuously. That what we remember are the greats, because people like Jayantilal Bhai never brought all the films made in Hollywood here. They only brought the cream. So we don't know what's the grass film they're making. Whereas all that we do, we keep watching and comparing it with the best in the world. Compare our best with their best. And then you will see Mughal Azam is no way lesser than a David Lean film. And you'll realize that the core seed for a film like First Blood came from a film called Achanak. Watch it. And then you'll know. I'm that kind of a film buff. So I'm grateful, and I'll keep watching films, and I hope you will also watch. When I was recommending that OTT should come, people in exhibition were very worried. I didn't know how to convince them because they were worried when satellite television came. And I told them that will become another branch of this head office bank called Moving Images. Don't worry about that. But I couldn't convince them then. It came, and then they realized now the only way I could say, I'm not a great believer, but I do believe in change. So I told him in a language that he would understand. So, what is that in your neck? He said, that's Balaji. Okay, I'll tell you your example. Just because you have a calendar with Balaji's picture, Tirupati will never lose its value. Same goes for Mecca, Ajmer, and the Vatican. Just because you've seen the picture, everybody wants to go there. One day they'll make it there. So this crowd here will never go away because this is a congregation that I enjoy. I could be reading it on my telephone. All that we are talking now could come through to me through my telephone, but I enjoy this company. I like watching your face. I like hearing that voice. We are all like that. Cinema, congregation in a theater will not go away.
Hello, Kamal.
One more question. Sir, you spoke about OTT. Sir, we've been trying to search for Devar Magan so many times on so many platforms. Can't find it, sir. Devar Magan.
No, that's I don't know whether it's our strategy or
Just also to remind everybody, वो
We are holding
हिंदी में फिर विरासत बन गई थी. लेकिन सर और एक और जो बिल्कुल ग्रेटेस्ट एक्टर्स की लिस्ट में है शिवाजी गणेशन, इन दोनों के सीन्स अगर आपने नहीं देखे तो आपने सच्ची में
So our CEO, Mr. Narayanan, is here. Sir. Let them see your face so that when they accuse me next time of Tevarman not coming, he is also responsible. It will reach you soon, hopefully.
Yes, sir. Next question.
Hello, Kamal sir. This is Ravi Jain from ABP News. Straight here.
Yes.
सर आपने पूरे इंडिया के बड़े बड़े एक्टर्स के साथ काम किया है, भले हिंदी फिल्मों की बात हो या तमिल सिनेमा की बात हो, आप ग्रेटेस्ट एक्टर्स के साथ काम करते रहे, आप खुद भी एक लेजेंड है. मैं जानना चाहूँगा फहद फासिल जो अब मलयालम सिनेमा के नए सेंसेशन है, विजय सेतुपति जो तमिल में बहुत बड़े स्टार, उनके साथ काम करना कैसा एक एक्सपीरियंस था आपके साथ, कैसे आपने उन्हें राज़ी किया साथ में काम करने के लिए, और क्या आपके मन में ये इच्छा भी कहीं थी कि आप खुद इस फिल्म को डायरेक्ट करें क्योंकि आप एक बहुत अच्छे डायरेक्टर भी हैं?
नहीं, हर अच्छे फिल्म को when I see them, I like to direct them, but somebody better than me has done it already, so I let it go and say खुद बनाएंगे एक अच्छे कहानी लिखकर मैं खुद बनाऊंगा. But about acting with actors, there's one actor I missed who I really wanted to. I literally held his hand and begged him, but he had decided not to act. Dilip Kumar Saab. I wanted to make that film Tevar Magan with him and me. Didn't matter, but it didn't happen, so I gave it to another friend who made it with Anil Kapoor Saab and Amresh Puri Saab. So that working with great actors, the experience is exactly the same. Greatness is similar around the world. Thank you.
Sir, I have one more question, a small question. Sir, आपने 80s से लेकर कई दशकों तक हिंदी सिनेमा में काम किया, कई एक दूजे के लिए की बात हो, सागर, सदमा, गिरफ्तार की बात हो, कई फिल्मों में काम किया. लेकिन क्या आपको लगता है कि आज की तारीख में जब हम देखते हैं कि RRR, पुष्पा, KGF ये फिल्में बहुत चल रही हैं और हिंदी बेल्ट में साउथ की फिल्मों को बहुत एक्सेप्ट किया जा रहा है, आपको क्या लगता है कि ये जो एक्सेप्टेंस अब जाकर मिल रही है साउथ के बड़े बड़े एक्टर्स को, व्हाट हैज चेंज एग्जैक्टली नाउ?
कुछ नहीं चेंज हुआ. We have forgotten. Our memory is. Sholay, some of the Tamil filmmakers said we must never allow these films to come here. हम बना नहीं पाएंगे ऐसा pictures. So why should we allow them to come? Instead of saying that we should make a film like that, they got scared of films like that, like Sholay, many other films. Like we wanted, I wanted to become a director, not an actor, when I saw Achanak. I keep referring to that film. What great films! And I didn't speak the language then, but cinema spoke to me. It doesn't matter whether it is Mughal-e-Azam, Achanak, or even Padosan. It touches my heart. That's why the films I make, at one time is Virasat, another time it's a Chachi Charsobis. That's because I'm influenced by that kind of cinemas. Nothing has changed, sir, except the audience with newer experience and forgetting the older memories. It's improving, and I'm closer to the audience now than my predecessors. Thank you.
Any Hindi film in the pipeline? Like, I would like.
I'd like to call all films that I make.
Okay, we are taking one final question.
From Bollywood now. सर इससे पहले आपने कहा था कि आपका जो कंपटीशन है वो रजनीकांत के साथ है और हम जानना चाहिए क्या वो कंपटीशन अभी भी जारी है?
Sir, my competition with every new aspiring actor, not just with Rajni Saab. My competition with, if you think you can become an actor, I see a competition sitting there and in the garb of a journalist and asking me, you are my competition, he is my competition, any talented actor is my competition.
Okay, final question. Yes, sir. Ma'am, one second.
G.
Full on action film. Sir, how did you match the energies with Fahad and Vijay?
Yeah, Kamal sir, this was a full-on action film. How did you match your energies? And you know, in spite of this being a full-to action film, I was attracted towards that emotional scene from where your tear falls. So obviously, it has all the emotions as well.
Yes, it has emotions. It has a bit of romance. Not fed in because it's not in a formulaic manner, but it is there. And about the energy, you just applaud once and I'll get the energy for the next film. So that is my energy. I get my energy from the applause or the anticipation that they might applaud gives me that energy.
जयंती भाई, हेलो.
कमल सर.
अब स्क्रीन काउंट क्या देख रहा है हिंदी? स्क्रीन काउंट क्या होगा? Any idea? Rough idea?
जी.
संजय जी इधर है. संजय जी एग्जैक्टली बता देंगे आपको. 1500 की रिलीज है. 1500 हिंदी.
Okay. एक आखिरी सवाल सर आप पूछ लीजिए. Ma'am, last question done, ma'am. Ma'am, there is.
While we are on the topic of screens के बारे में बोल रहे थे. So I think it is right now. I come from Kerala. Kerala, they said we will do 4,000. I said 4,000. Are you sure? Now, before I left yesterday, they said we'll cross 5,000 screens in Kerala, a small state called Kerala, and Tamil Nadu will cross 900 prints. Totally 5,000 plus is what we are looking around the world. Thank you.
Kamal sir, thank you.
माइक दो.
क्योंकि आमतौर पर जो शुरुआती विकास बहुत समय 20 साल की जर्नी है, आज स्टेज पर सम्मान मिलता है, आप बैठे हैं, थोड़ा सा बदला कितना है काम और कितना आ रहा है ये जानना.
मैं एक बात तो जब मैं सर के साथ रिकॉर्डिंग कर रहा था तब मैं उन सर को बोलना चाह रहा था कि जब एक दूजे के लिए रिलीज हुई थी सर, तब मैं उस वक्त 9th क्लास में था और मुझे घर से 50 पैसे मिलते थे वो पॉकेट खर्च के लिए. तो मैं 4 दिन इसको जमा करता था, फिर एक दूजे के लिए नहीं जाता था. तो मैंने 18 बार देखे थे और मुझे तब ये उम्मीद नहीं थी कि एक वक्त आएगा कि मैं सर के साथ काम करूँगा, उनके लिए लिखूँगा और उनके साथ बैठूँगा. तो मैं सर को बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया कहना चाहूँगा सर को कि आपने इतना बड़ा मौका दिया, और अनी को भी, अनिरुद्ध, उनको भी बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया अदा करना चाहूँगा. और पुष्पा के बाद थोड़ा बहुत लोग मुझे जानने लगे, पहचानने लगे और मेरे गानों की वजह से, और आप लोगों का प्यार इसी तरह मिलता रहे और बस यही उम्मीद करते हैं. थैंक यू सो मच.
One little side story. Devi Shri Prasad is a good friend of mine. He is very fond of me. So when we were making Patala Patala, he asked me, who's writing your song? So I didn't know. I asked, and they said his name. Then it's fine. He wrote Srivalli. Congratulations. He said before even I recorded the song. So that's what it does. That is stardom, and he's enjoying it now. Kudos to my friend.
Right. Gentlemen, Rakib Bhai, Raj sir, Kamal sir, Jayanti sir, I'm sure that अब सारे आपकी pictures लेना चाहते हैं. We conclude our question answer session from the media. If you could just pose for the photographs from our media friends, I'll take the mics from you.